So check this fantastic sculpture out. If you're just listening to the video, please just check it out. Look at it for some time. I mean, it's fantastic. Look at it again. Study it. Try to think about it. Try and identify the feelings you may be feeling as you look at it. Do you get a certain understanding of the process that it takes to create this, and also the thousands of hours developing the ability to even make this? This not even just the time that was spent on this particular piece. Does looking at it make your day any better? Now, my apologies, but check out this exchange. So this is by Ian Thorne, Dark Triad Man. It's a tweet. He said, "This is called art. This is the legacy and the heritage of the West. This is what men of the West fight, sacrifice, and die for. This is victory. Hashtag Deus Vult." Okay, so now here's Rollo Tomasi who responds. Is at the Rational Male. He says, "Is there an example of a female sculptor who committed herself to the same level of detail that a male does with a woman?" And this is 23 likes, so people jumping on here. Ivan Thorne comes back. "None that come to mind. That sculpture is an act of worship before heaven, and it shows." And we have Platonic Solid Snake here at Pliny the Elder. He comes in replying to Dark Triad Man and Rational Male and says, "The sculptor is a Chinese woman. You dork-ass losers." So, did you see what I saw there? And I'm not talking about Rollo Tomasi, who's someone I've heard of before, and I agree with some of the things that he said about relationships. He's talking about maintaining frame, not necessarily all the maintaining frame stuff. I think I heard it more in like the PUA, Pickup Artist Circle. Some people were referring to his work. But you don't have to agree with everything someone says for him to still say some valuable things. So there might have been some things here. He might have been talking about, I thought he might have been talking about, males in relationships with females, but I think he was more talking about directly with a male sculptor working on a female body sculpture, and that's what I think Ivan Thorne also did. Ivan Throne. And Ivan Throne, Dark Triad Man there, he's also talking about Deus Vult, which is a thing that's done in more like alt-right memeage about the Crusades and things like that, like the man of the West need to rise up and fight back and things like that. And then they're also talking about how he's like, this is something about heaven. So you can tell he has some kind of faith and belief in certain things. And he's also misattributing the sculpture to the preconceived notions of what they think of who can do what. So I don't mean all that stuff. I mean that last one by Platonic Solid Snake. So you may have missed it, but I'm here to save you from internalized blindness to the background radiation bigotry that we all currently live in. Why are they assuming the artist's gender? And that someone of Chinese ethnicity cannot be Western? Such sexism and xenophobia should not be encouraged. This is why so many white people all over the world are saying white people are under threat of being outbred in their own white people countries. On the other hand, you have people saying, everyone is immigrants anyway. Unless you're a native indigenous person, and that's kind of different. But anyway, you don't have to integrate. But it's not like people can't learn languages anyway, and the ways of the place and become of that place. Just being born somewhere doesn't define who you are, right? I mean, no such thing as European or United States of American. Like those are social constructs, and the Western have divided us too long. You can totes go anywhere and be anything. The artist, for all we know, could identify as a Western male sculptor. So, I mean, why is this Solid Snake person? How dare you assume otherwise due to how someone presents themselves? Check your visual privilege. Okay, so joke aside, it's fantastic art. I'll get back to that later, but let's talk about the actual exchange about the art, the discussion about the art. Remember I asked you after you were seeing it to think about how you felt, what it made you feel like. Does it improve your day? Does it make you feel something inside, some type of way? And when I see this exchange, and I think of the collectivism that is behind someone who may have never sculpted a single thing, being able to see that incredible depiction of a female body, and think it was made by someone who shares some features of some in-group one considers themselves to be part of, and that's what gives them some sort of extra specific in-group pride into the actual creation. It's just so ill to me. And I can't be more technical about the term because ill is what fits this thing. Even trying to be more technical about it makes me feel ill. And I was talking to one of my good friends about this. She's one of the people who truly understands what ill is. And I'm sure there's more of you out there, and you just know that ill thing. It's ill. That's what this is. It just makes me feel ill. I mean, if you did play a part in making it, then why would you feel boosted more than just as a human being who gets to witness this amazing piece of art? You've never met the artist. You may even be sitting across from them. Even they could have been sitting across from them in some coffee shop somewhere, tweeting about how Deus Vult this thing is, and the person's standing right in front of them. They could have been talking to them about the piece, and they have no idea who the person is. And you still somehow feel this extra boosting. It's ill. So let me know, how is it that someone can feel like it's somehow indicative of you when you had zero to do with that actual thing? So the artist is the one pictured in that image above, and I searched online for more information on her, and she's amazeballs. She, for I haven't seen her claim to identify as otherwise, and while we're on that topic, how many people do you think actually care about this whole like, oh, I identify as she, he, z? I know some people it's important for them, and they use it in that kind of way, but how prevalent is it? You see politicians do it, but politicians do a lot of things. Anyway, the artist's name is Luo Li Rong. Yes, she is of Chinese origin, but she moved to France in about 2005 and shortly after moved to Belgium with her husband and opened a gallery/studio there that she primarily works from. Here is a clip of some of her work.
Je serai à la Galerie Partout à Paris pour vous porter une surprise artistique. Je vais porter un morceau de mon atelier dans les Galeries Partout et dévoiler mes dernières créations. Et pendant 4 jours, je vais réaliser une sculpture sous vos yeux.
So, yeah, that's some truly amazing stuff, and that puts any of my attempts to sculpt into shame, but it does so in an inspirational kind of time to get back to it sort of way, and not the Jesus Christ, I should chop off my hands because they'll never mold anything worthwhile sort of way. So it's good to see these kind of things. These things are the inspirational things. These are the things I think someone with my artistic ability, I see these things and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And I've seen people see some of the stuff I make and then they say like, oh, wow, that's amazing. I'm like, okay, what I had in mind and the kind of things I've seen, it's actually at a different level. But anyway, that's just something that happens, I think, as creatives and artists, but other people might be able to relate this in other places. But anyway, back to the video, back to Luo Li Rong here. So, did you expect her to speak Mandarin after you saw her picture? And did my indicating that she moved to France make you expect she might speak French? Or did you think about how international Paris is when you thought of France and thought, okay, she probably just speaks English. Why else would she go to France if she can speak the language? Or when I added that she moved and settled in Belgium, did you think they may actually be a language like Belgish, rather than know that French is one of the 3 official languages of the country, with German and Dutch being the others? And does any of this even matter to what she is able to do? To add to this, if you actually just search online, I think they could have searched. It was posted in 2017, this exchange. They had the internet, they could have searched this stuff, and they would have found out who created this piece. You know, Ivan was so focused on the whole, like, boost my Western male pride, that he wasn't even focused on the actual work. And he couldn't even realize that this piece was not even complete. This is her working. This is a process, a work in progress. So she focuses on bronze sculpture, and there's a transitionary period between where you create this sculpture, then you make a cast of it, then you pour in the bronze, and then that settles, and I think she painted it as well. She titled this sculpture La Mélodie Oubliée, which is the forgotten melody. And this is stuff that you can know about it. You don't have to know it, and you can still be inspired, but why do you have to be like, oh, Deus Vult to this thing? It's an odd kind of situation. And with that whole idea, do they feel something has been stolen from them? I think cultural appropriation is BS. I think in general, life is about appropriation. Just the basic aspect of it. We take energies from other things that had stored energy and we convert that into material that we can use. Genes themselves are writing code in a certain way, and they're kind of taking this code that was done in this kind of way and then passing it on to these other cells and passing these on to these other life forms. That's what we do. We appropriate to live. And when it comes to art, we are appropriating experiences that we see outside and expressing them in a certain way. Now, with these people with a Deus Vult and white male Western pride and things like that, would they be more comfortable in a world where Luo only works on sculptures of people that look like her? And the Platonic Slake claim that Luo cannot actually be influenced by Western culture and benefit from living in a Western country, in the West in that kind of way, in a way that enriched her artistic abilities. Is he stating that there's something genetic about being Western Is he stating that somebody cannot see that from somewhere else and be inspired by westernization? And I think that's the kind of thing that comes from that whole situation where you can say, oh, a white person can't do this about black culture because it's appropriation. A white person can't do that, can't say this, can't do these things, can't understand these things because they're genetically unable to do it. And if you hold that, then you also have to do the flip side. You can say, oh, a Chinese person can't actually be inspired by the Western things. But you don't see that being flipped that kind of way. And these are so many questions to ask, but very few answers actually given. This is just another observation of something that I've realized recently is art is the language of life. And this is a key thing to the way we express things, the way we understand things, the way we communicate. And I think there's ways we can inform each other and understand each other through art. And I'm going to be trying to use my own artistic abilities to communicate and help people understand things in better ways. Because I think we are doing ourselves a disservice to have these artificial divisions that are not really that useful anymore and limit us. As mentioned, I do create some art, like to communicate through art, have a merchandise store, which I didn't mention before, but I'm mentioning now. I think I didn't mention before. Anyway, on the screen right now, Thomas Sowell 3, which is 3 questions that economist Thomas Sowell asks and is supposed to destroy all leftist arguments, but I like applying it to different things, and I'm going to apply it to this situation right here. Question number 1 is compared to what? If Ivan had seen this and said, okay, compared to what? What am I comparing this piece of art to? And I think he's comparing it to the caricature of what art world is now. And the character is looking at someone like some feminist artist, self-declared feminist artist will go to a piazza, put some painted water balloons in their private area, squat over this paper and drop it and be like, yeah, that's art. But how many people are actually doing this? I mean, that is very few people. It's like taking that and saying that's indicative of the art world and also taking what Luo has done here and say that's indicative of the art world. When these are people who are very fringe. In general, just out of the population, how many people are actually making art? Then how many of those artists are actually making that sort of art? Now, the second one is at what price? At what price in this situation? At what price does it take to actually go out and actually research this instead of just posting and kind of looking a fool by being like, Deus Vult on this? And now that you've put that Deus Vult behind it, and now that you've found out that it was not this Adonis white sculpture that you have in your mind, does that reduce your actual experience of this piece of art? No, the piece of art is still a piece of art, but does that reduce something in you personally by looking at it, by finding out that it's this svelte woman of Chinese ancestry that did it? Now, what solid proof do you have is the third question, and that's the thing. If he had actually gone out and searched, then he would have realized who it was before posting. If he'd also done the search, he would also realize that that feminist artist that I was talking about before is not indicative of the art world. It's not that kind of situation. Then maybe he won't be that stressed. And some of these ideas that we have that, oh, the West is dying, that we need this one artist to, or this piece of art somehow brings us back up. We have some worries out there that could be helped by asking these 3 questions. Anyway, like, share, and subscribe. Links below to the merchandise store. Let me know what you think in the comments section. There's also PayPal. If you guys like this content, you can help support me to make it. I'm trying to think of different ways to use my art and add more value to what I'm doing, give more value to you guys, also get more value out of this. I think there are a lot of stories out there that should be told, that could be told, that aren't being told, and I'm going to look at ways to kind of enter that niche or provide a platform for people to be able to do that. I'll let you know more about that later. Goodbye.